The air in Bowling Green, Kentucky hummed with a different kind of hello viewers. Welcome back to my channel. For 1,000 pounds sister latest news update, please subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon. Tension. It wasn't the usual heavy, humid pressure that clung to the late summer days, nor the familiar low-grade anxiety that often accompanied life for Amy Slayton Halstead. This was sharper, more electric, the charged anticipation of a wedding day. Amy, the quieter, more reserved of the 1,000 Albee sisters, was getting married. Again. But this time, the stakes felt impossibly higher, the shadows of the past longer, and the question hanging over everything wasn't just about the dress or the flowers, but about presence itself. Would Tammy Slayton, her larger-than-life, fiercely loyal, and often volatile twin sister, be there to walk beside her? Amy stood in the center of her modest bedroom, the carefully chosen ivory lace of her wedding gown pooling around her feet like spun sugar. It was beautiful, delicate, a stark contrast to the battles she'd fought against her weight, against health scares, against the suffocating dynamics of her family, and most recently, against the very real possibility of losing Tammy forever. Her reflection in the full-length mirror showed a woman transformed not just by the dress, but by the sheer, hard-won effort of survival. Her eyes, usually guarded, held a flicker of something new. Hope, yes, but also a profound, almost fragile vulnerability. She was marrying Michael Halstead, a man who had seen her at her lowest and loved her anyway, who offered stability and quiet devotion. This union felt like her anchor, her chance at a calmer shore dot, but an anchor needs something solid to hold on to, and for Amy, that solidity had always been Tammy. From the moment they were born, minutes apart, their lives had been a tangled, inseparable knot. They'd navigated childhood obesity together, faced the world's judgment as a united front, celebrated tiny victories, and weathered devastating losses most painfully, the death of their beloved father, Gary, whose absence still echoed in the hollow spaces of their shared history. Tammy, with her booming laugh, her unfiltered honesty, and her fierce, sometimes overwhelming protectiveness, had been Amy's constant. Even during their infamous years-long estrangement, a chasm carved by jealousy, resentment, and the toxic influence of others, the underlying bond, however strained, had never truly snapped. It had just gone dormant, waiting for the right conditions to sprout again. Now, those conditions seemed present. They were talking again, cautiously rebuilding. They'd shared meals, tentative conversations, even moments of genuine laughter that felt like rediscovering a forgotten language. Amy had confided in Tammy about the wedding plans, sharing fabric swatches and venue photos, her voice tinged with a nervous excitement she hadn't felt in years. Tammy had responded with her characteristic enthusiasm, declaring Amy would be the most beautiful bride ever, promising to be her rock, her maid of honor in spirit if not in title. Amy had chosen her daughter, Gertie, for that honor. For a while, it felt like the old rhythm was returning, the twin telepathy kicking back in Dot. Then came the silence. Dot. It started subtly. A text message left unanswered for a day, then two. A planned lunch date canceled last minute with a vague excuse about not feeling up to it. Phone calls that Tammy didn't pick up, replaced by brief, sometimes curt voicemails. The warmth in their interactions began to cool, replaced by a polite distance that felt alien and chilling. Amy's wedding countdown, meticulously tracked on her phone and a physical calendar adorned with tiny hearts, suddenly felt like a countdown to potential heartbreak of a different kind. The joyful anticipation curdled into a knot of anxiety in her stomach. Was it the wedding itself? Was Tammy feeling left behind, replaced by Michael and Amy's new life? Was the old jealousy, the fear of abandonment that had fueled their past rift, rearing its ugly head again? Or was it something else entirely, Tammy's own struggles with her health? Her relationship with her fiancé, Caleb, the relentless pressure of fame and public scrutiny. Amy tried to push the doubts away. She focused on Gertie, her bright-eyed daughter who was buzzing with excitement about being the flower girl. She focused on Michael, whose steady presence was a balm. She focused on the logistics, the cake tasting, the seating chart, the final dress fitting. But Tammy's absence, even when she was physically present in town, loomed large. Every ring of her phone that wasn't Tammy's name sent a fresh wave of disappointment. Every time she passed Tammy's house and saw the lights off, a cold dread would settle in her chest. The wedding wasn't just about marrying Michael. It felt in a way only twins could understand, like a test of their bond. If Tammy wasn't there, what did that mean? Did it mean the bridge they'd painstakingly rebuilt had collapsed before they'd even crossed it? The Slayton family dynamic, always complex, added another layer of uncertainty. Amy's mother, Angela, walked a tightrope between her daughters. She loved them both fiercely, but often found herself caught in the crossfire of their conflicts. Angela desperately wanted both her girls together for this momentous occasion. She'd been gently, persistently nudging Tammy, trying to understand the sudden withdrawal, offering reassurances, acting as a reluctant go-between. But Angela's own history of enabling and sometimes inadvertently fueling the sisters' drama meant her interventions weren't always helpful. Amy knew her mom meant well, but the constant updates. She says she's just stressed, she's worried about her outfit, she's having a hard week with Caleb, only amplified Amy's anxiety. Was it genuine stress, or was it an excuse? The line between the two felt dangerously blurred. Then there was Chris, Amy's ex-husband and Gertie's father. Their relationship was cordial, focused entirely on co-parenting. Chris understood the significance of Tammy in Amy's life. He'd seen firsthand how devastating their estrangement had been for her. He offered quiet support, telling Amy, "She'll come around. She loves you too much not to." But even his confidence couldn't fully dispel the gnawing fear. The specter of the past estrangement haunted every interaction. That time, the silence had lasted for years. Amy couldn't bear the thought of starting her new life with Michael under the shadow of losing her twin all over again, especially on a day that should be pure joy. As the days ticked down 10 days, 5 days, 3 days, the silence from Tammy became deafening. Amy stopped texting first. She stopped sharing wedding details. A protective numbness started to set in, a defense mechanism against the potential pain of rejection on her wedding day. She threw herself into final preparations with a grim determination. She practiced her vows with Michael, her voice steady even as her hands trembled slightly. She helped Gertie practice scattering petals. She confirmed the caterer, the photographer, the florist. She focused on the tangible, the things she could control, because Tammy's attendance felt like the one variable completely beyond her grasp. The night before the wedding, Amy sat alone in her quiet house after Gertie was tucked in. The dress hung on a special hook, pristine and waiting. The house was clean, organized, ready, but the emptiness felt profound. She picked up her phone, scrolling through old photos, pictures of her and Tammy as kids, arms slung over each other's shoulders, grinning with missing teeth. Photos from happier times before the weight of their struggles and fame became so heavy. Even a recent, slightly awkward selfie they'd taken during one of their tentative reunions. Tears welled up, hot and insistent. She missed her sister. Not the famous 1000 LB Sisters persona, not the reality TV star, but Tammy, her Tammy, the girl who knew her secrets, who laughed at her dumbest jokes, who had held her hand through hospital visits and heartbreaks. The thought of walking down the aisle without seeing Tammy's face in the crowd, without that familiar, reassuring presence, felt like walking into a storm without an umbrella dot. She drafted a text. Simple, direct. Tammy, tomorrow's my wedding day. I really, really hope you're there. I need my sister. She stared at the screen for a long time, her thumb hovering over the send button. Was it too much? Too desperate? Would it push Tammy further away? Or was it the only honest thing left to say? Taking a shaky breath, she pressed send. Then she turned off her phone, unable to bear the wait for a reply that might never come. She climbed into bed, the silence of the house pressing in, the countdown frozen at 1 day on her bedside clock, feeling utterly alone despite the love that surrounded her. Dawn broke on Amy's wedding day, pale and promising.